We're finally talking about network marketing.
Yeah, I feel like it took a lot of healing, a lot of processing to get to the point where it's okay to talk about it.
Well, let's talk about it.
Let's. All right.
No, I think we should give preliminaries though,
Okay.
because they're not hearing the industry. They're not hearing about this industry from anybody. You know, we actually did network marketing at a high level.
Well, I think the preliminary is also like, this is where we built initially our influence of like why we even started a podcast, or like what makes us relevant. That's where that developed, you know, like not only are we talking about network marketing from being in it, but this is what really got us on our, like everything that we've talked about for 4 seasons derives from, in some way, shape, or form, network marketing.
Literally. So, you know, I just want to give people the preliminary, like,
Yeah.
look, because, you know, I only say that because I look on YouTube, I look on social media, and you hear all these opinions about network marketing.
Yeah, for sure.
From people that have never joined a company, they've never built a company, or if they did join, they didn't make any money. They had a sour taste in their mouth.
Right.
And trust me, I get it. but on the flip side of that, you don't ever hear it from a perspective of somebody that has built a large organization, a full-time income.
Without experience.
You never get to hear from the horse's mouth.
Right.
Of what the real experience is and what it really, really takes.
Yeah.
Because it does take a lot.
And I think a lot of people have asked the question for easily 2, maybe going on 3 years of what happened to them Forex niggas. Y'all remember Forex? Man, that was a time. And when people always ask me like, you know, what do you do, or what did you do, or what was your intro into entrepreneurship? I'm always like, you remember that Forex era? Yeah, that was me. Yeah. And people all like, you never have to say too much. They always get it.
Yeah, we definitely started a wave in Atlanta.
Oh my gosh.
We made it famous in Atlanta. It's really, we're part of history.
No, for sure.
Really were a part of history.
It definitely goes down in the history books, but I think we wanted to premise this episode talking about why it has taken us so long to actually delve into the topic. Like we have skirted around it on almost every episode we've done.
We talked about everything under the sun. We have never talked about what we actually made money from and what our business was.
The business
we always mention a business. We never talk about what the hell the business was.
Yes. But what do you feel like? What took you so long? I'll give my perspective, but what took you so long to want to, I guess, talk about it?
What took me so long is I had to sift through feelings. I had to sift through, like, I didn't want to, you know, use our platform and talk about it in a malicious way, but more so in just my experience way.
Yeah, for sure.
So I had to get through a lot of trauma, mental trauma.
My God.
A lot of just period, point blank trauma. And we'll get into that, but it's just a lot of stuff I had to sift through mentally to be able to talk about it, not from a distasteful way, but more so just from a real way. You know what I'm saying? Just from whatever anybody is thinking about the industry.
Yeah.
We're here to give you the real on it. You know what I'm saying?
No, facts. I agree.
And what you don't know, maybe you'll have a different perspective on it.
Yeah. What you've heard, what you've thought about, what you've considered, what you've always wondered. Were you done?
I mean, so kind of, yeah. I just, like I said, I just needed time. Like, you know how they say time and rest. Time and rest. I needed time and rest. Yes. One, from the industry, and also from discussing it in this regard.
Yeah.
Because it can get dicey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say for me, it was more so like the same thing you said. Like, you don't want to come from we never wanted to come from a negative standpoint, simply because it was what got our feet wet in entrepreneurship in a high level, to be able to do what we did with no experience and be able to really understand a lot of what it takes to be a leader, not just in business, because it's a different type of business than running your own.
Yeah.
But what does it take to lead people? What does it take to lead yourself? What does it take to be motivated? And how I had to sift through the hurt that came with the lows. And I think a lot of times when you hear from, I would say in 2023 for sure, when you're hearing from entrepreneurs, of course we want to hear all of the successes. We want all of the successes. You want to hear about all the successes, all the wins. But I don't think sometimes we get gritty enough with how to handle those lows. And I think because that's not often a conversation, because in the entrepreneurship space and the positive mentality space, that's seen as you being negative. And we never wanted this topic to come off from a negative standpoint. There's people that, why is multi-level marketing a scam, and why you should never do this, it's a cult, and it's a this, and that's not the perspective we want to come from. But it doesn't, like, this conversation doesn't come without hurt, because there were some ways that the dismantling of that business, I guess I can no longer say that business.
What can you say? What would you say?
That's how we say it all the time on every episode, but this is actually the conversation about it.
The MLM business.
Yes, but the way that it dissolved came with a little sour taste.
You know what? That's part of the trauma, though. Like,
yes,
it's hard to even. We refer to it as that business because it's hard to just say like MLM to the average person, because
or that company, the name of the company.
Yeah, because they just have a negative connotation to them.
Yeah, for sure.
And people automatically think of it as a scam.
Right. And it's
so let's start there, I guess.
Okay.
Well, not even there. Let's start. What were we mind frame wise? What were you mind frame wise in before getting into network marketing? Like, what were you thinking? Like,
broke.
You're broke. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So let me talk about actually my initial introduction to multi-level marketing. I came home, and this might have happened to you. You come home.
Facts. You could definitely
and I was working. I was working for the government at the time. I come home. It was summer break or whatever, and I think I was like 19. And I come home. My parents are having this coffee and jazz mixer. Bro, what are y'all doing? Literally, I come home like, why are there so many people?
Mixer.
Like, my parents aren't like, my parents are hosts, but like, they're like hosts for the family, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like your close friends. I don't know whose cars these are. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who these people are that outside my house.
In your house, yeah.
Young dude, shout out to Ben. I still talk to him to this day. He gets out the car, plays a DVD. This is back when presentations used to be on DVDs. Plays this DVD. Dude comes on the video. I'll talk about him in a minute. Dude comes on the video and got this nice house, and he's talking about how much money he's made, got a Bentley, Ferrari in the video. And I'm like, dang, that's crazy. All this from selling coffee.
It's crazy.
And the thing was, I was a heavy coffee drinker because I used to have to be at work at 5 a.m. And so for me, I'm like, well, I already drink coffee. I can take this back. I'm so inspired. The package was like $1.99 or something. I think that was the lowest package. There were plenty of them, but the lowest package was like $1.99. Like, all right, cool, I could do that. I'll go get me some samples, whatever. My parents already had the stuff in the house, and I'm already like it was a great product. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I wish I could have some Organo Gold to this day, because it's great coffee. But anyway, I joined the company. I don't do anything. Why? Because I'm definitely afraid of talking to people. I'm definitely afraid of sales. And I made one phone call that night. I made one phone call that night because I was inspired. I got started, and the person I called said, why are you doing one of those things? You know that's a scam, right? And I was like, oh no, right. My parents are already doing it. So are they a part of a scam too? You know, so I go to like a couple meetings or whatever. Needless to say, my big idea was to take it back on campus and take it to the Jam and Java, which was our coffee shop on campus, and to see if I can barter a deal where I sell them my coffee for them to now sell. It was a great idea. I'm too scary for that.
Yeah,
you know,
you both look that.
I'm too scary for that. You know what I'm saying? So it never took off. And that was my first experience in network marketing.
the scary part most people deal with.
That is what most people deal with, which is, when you hear how the whole thing progressed, you'll be interested to know how do you become you. But it's like that was my start. So then when we moved to Atlanta, I'm just following entrepreneurs on the internet, blah, 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 on Instagram or whatever in Atlanta, obviously to get familiar with the city and the people in it. And come across this guy. Are we naming names? Like, I don't know like how this goes.
Yeah, you name. I don't know. That's really. I don't know. I don't think we need to. We don't need to name names.
So come across this guy.
People who know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Come across this guy on Instagram, and he was having an event. It was called a Millionaire Mixer. I'm like, yo, I moved to Atlanta because I'm about to get rich. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to change my life. I want to be a millionaire, so I should probably mix with millionaires, right?
Right.
Perfect marketing, Goofy, for me, because I'm slow.
Right.
If you've ever been, if somebody's ever... Huh?
Not just, I wouldn't agree that you're slow.
Oh, I mean, I'm not slow, but nonetheless, thank you. I appreciate it. Anyway, so I'm like, I want to be a millionaire, so I go mix with millionaires. Got, because it was an opportunity.
Got.
If you have been one of those commercials, like if you've ever been got by a friend, told you to come with them real quick somewhere.
Let's unpack it though. Let's unpack that because I have a whole different.
You do.
I have a whole different skew on how I started in network marketing, or like what I was thinking.
From this moment or before this?
Before that and in that moment, because you got to think about it, like,
all right, so
I grew up seeing network marketing.
So before I get into
life.
What happens when we both have this encounter, you go from your original your first look into network marketing.
Yeah, my first look into network marketing has been damn near my entire life. So because my mom been in network marketing
to this day, my
entire life, right? So obviously my mom hasn't hit the 1% or the 10% that, not even the top, maybe I guess 50%, any percent in the industry. So I'm seeing it from somebody that is continuously working the business, but they're hitting a wall all the time. They're not really seeing any success. So for me, I'm thinking like, this industry does not work. Like, literally people are banging their heads against the wall trying to sell stuff, and they're not having success. This is what I'm thinking. So when we do get involved and we go to Atlanta, we now come to this mixer. The reason why I want you to unpack that is because this is why people call it a scam. Is because typically they get marketed,
bamboozled.
They get lured to an event. They get lured to somewhere where it may be like, hey, we're having a barbecue.
No, I hate those. Now listen, I will say, don't ever do that.
Because all right, so they lure you to the house. Hey, we
giving
have
you
a barbecue
kickback.
And then next thing you know, I'm pulling out a pen and paper and a whole presentation.
But that wasn't like that. This was an actual event, though.
Like
you know what I'm saying?
This was a whole
This
event.
was actually an event, and I was attracted to the marketing. Now, what it was when I got there, I went there for my intent was still right, and the information still had the credibility to be able to position you to do that. What people need to understand about multi-level marketing and network marketing is just because it didn't work for you, just because it didn't work for your auntie and your uncle and your mom and your dad and your grandparents, doesn't mean that it's a scam. And I think what we have to demystify in our community is just because I don't understand it or I don't know anybody that has been successful doesn't make it a scam. And that's what drives most people away. The parts that drive most people away isn't what the actual driver away should be. Most people don't realize they call it a scam because you make money when you recruit people, right? What's scammy about that?
No, I don't think that's the scammy part. I think the scammy part.
No, but we don't think, not from our perspective.
That's definitely not the scamming part.
That's not the part not from our perspective. I'm talking about from the average person's perspective. That's the original scam piece. Is that I only make money if I recruit.
Well, I think people don't understand the difference between Ponzi and MLM. I think that's the toting line.
Okay.
Is that
can you break it down?
Ponzi all right, so
people don't want to hear this though. Like I used to argue with people about this. Like, your job isn't.
Oh God, yeah, because that argument is the worst. You know what I'm saying?
No, essentially, I just don't think that we make the correlations to the different types of businesses that operate the same exact way.
Yeah, everything operates in a pyramid structure.
Yes.
Because there's hierarchy in everything. You know what I'm saying? But with a Ponzi, we talking about people, you're only getting paid out what people put in.
Right. Susus.
That's a Ponzi. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Typically, Ponzi's operate in the financial world. Mm-hmm. And we talking about like when you're giving your money to somebody to make you more money, but they're not going to make you more money. They're going, whatever you deposit, they're paying out people as in dividends and stuff like that. Like that's what a Ponzi is. There's an exchange of money, but there's no product.
Right. And that's the difference between multi-level marketing is that you're actually getting something for what you're paying for. And that's where people miss it in regards to, it's just a scheme, a pyramid scheme, or it's a scam. It's like, okay, a scheme is, like Malcolm said, is when you're exchanging money for money and there's no product involved. Any company that you ever get involved with, like I said, my first one was coffee. My second one was credit repair, right? I don't know. I was so bad at that business. I don't even know what it was. But the product is coffee. What I paid $1.99 for was the package of sample coffee to be able to now do my own meetings, to share with people how they can be profitable in the coffee business. Correct. Now, what people miss is just because you're not a good salesman doesn't make the situation a scam. Doesn't make the whole thing a scam just because you weren't good at it. And typically in the Black community, for sure, I know it happens worldwide, but I can only speak for the majority of my organization was Black. But in our community, that's what we deem the scam, is that I wasn't good enough. And if it didn't work for me, it cannot be right.
Yeah, and I think so. That's what's actually good and bad about the industry, is that anybody can join. That's the good thing about it, and the bad part is anybody can join. So that means like somebody that isn't good at all, that has tactics that are predatory. They also get into the business, and they get into the business with the same low barrier entry as you do. And if they're looking to build a business, if they're marketing it in a certain way, it will come off as scammy.
No, and I agree about that, because I had to shift from that perspective even when I was beginning in the business. So fast forward to the conversation we were having. We go to this meeting. We don't know it's a meeting, but it turns out to be a meeting. And we've all been to one of those things where, and not a barbecue, but like when your friends like, pull up with me, I got this networking event, blah, blah, blah. I always push mine as a, pull up, I got this bomb network event going on with a bunch of entrepreneurs in Atlanta, which is true. I just am also going to sell you something. You know what I'm saying? And we get there, we end up having to leave because I think you had to do something for work or something like that, or I had to pick you up. I don't remember. But the gentleman that invited us was like, yeah, let's do lunch. So we go to lunch with him later that week. And, I have told y'all a million times I'm an opportunist. Jesus Christ, what is happening with my mouth? I'm an opportunist, and I love opportunity. I was new to Atlanta. I was looking for something to do. I was looking for something to be excited about. And when you're a good marketer and you're great at sales and you're good with people, it is easy to inspire somebody into what they can believe they can do. And that is the premise of this whole multi-level marketing industry, is truly about self-empowerment. And when you can empower a person who may not have hope today, or may be looking for something, and maybe just wants something better, and I just wish I could, or, all the things that we've said to ourselves, I could just make an extra $1,000, if I could just this, if I could just this, if I had just one opportunity, then I would this. If you can have somebody help somebody in your meeting, in your presentation, in your offer, believe that of themselves, that that's what they can do, you can become profitable in this space. But those are the type of people it takes. So it didn't take much for me, because I was hungry, and I literally, and and in ambition, but I also needed something to believe in. I wanted something to build. I wanted an opportunity to create wealth. When the price comes, I asked Malcolm for his card because I didn't have no money.
Yeah, I was not with it. I was not with it at first.
You weren't with that at all.
I wasn't with it at all. I honestly didn't understand the product or anything like that.
To this day.
To this day, I still don't know what that product was when we joined that company. But piggybacking on what you're saying, like that is why there's going to always be somebody joining a network marketing company. It's because there is a play on that emotion of you need more money.
You do.
You're not where you want to be.
You're not.
And what you've been doing, this feels like a hamster wheel. So if I present you an opportunity that plays to every single emotion that you've been feeling, you're going to be more open to, to join that opportunity and sell what that product is.
That's psychology of
That's
sales.
the psychology of sales. You know what I'm saying?
I think, but the thing about stuff like that is like, it's not bad because in anything, it's done. It's done to sell you season tickets to Six Flags. It's done to sell you the newest iPhone. Like Apple does a keynote where they show you all the great features of why you don't need another iPhone. Your iPhone works fine. You don't. But because of the way that they present it and the things that they do to play on your psychology, makes you feel like I have to have this. And so, it's just psychology. And a lot of people don't realize that's all it is. If you want to sell anything, one, you have to understand sales to just get ahead in life in general.
Yeah, you do. No, for real. Like this.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what people, when it comes to multi-level marketing, don't realize. This is what I have to do. And when you realize that, that's when you can run up a bag. Most people realize I actually don't want to do that.
Yeah, because most people don't want to deal with rejection.
They don't.
And that's the biggest part. Like, if you don't want to deal with rejection, it's going to feel uncomfortable for somebody to go out there and recruit. It's very hard. And then
it's because it's the people that know you.
Yeah, but if that's what's being like pushed to you, like, hey, recruiting, and you already are not self-aware of your insecurity, because that's really what it stems from. It's an insecurity that I don't want to go out here and talk to people about this thing. Most of the time, when you do become the 10% or the 1%, it's because you truly believe in a product. You have to get to a space
and
mentally.
That's what gets us to where we got to.
You are delusional. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And so let's get to how we get into this company. So that's my first experience. Our second experience together. Malcolm used to be like, I don't understand why you're doing this. But as he told you, he already had like the mom trauma where he's like, I've watched my mom not like this is not successful. I already know this. So here you go. About to be another not profitable person, which I wasn't. I made $35
in like a year.
$35 in a year. So ride with him. Ride with us on this journey. So same individual decides he's transitioning the companies, and like I said, like you call me and you like, yo, Britt, I'm not about to be doing this no more. I'm moving forward. I'm not, you don't have to move. I'm the person that's going to be like, what's the move all day? What's the move? Where we at? What we doing? What we doing? What you doing? Where you going? And that's me. And when I finally see the opportunity for me, this is where Forex comes into play. 3 things that I saw. $10.3 million. Was it $7.3 million at the beginning?
I don't know.
I mean, trillion. $7.3 trillion a day. I can't even remember it. I used to know this like the back of my hand. I saw how much money was circulating in the market every day. I saw $10,000 a month because at the time I was still in my babysitting bag, Uber bag. Like I wasn't making money like that. And I saw $10,000 a month. When I saw $10,000 a month, I knew my life could be different. And that was enough for me. That was enough for me. Most compensation plans for companies, I don't understand how we're going to make money.
Yeah, no, they'd be complicated.
They'd be so complicated. It's 107 ways that you can get paid, and that's
against you most of the time.
I need the most simplest thing possible. So when I saw $10,000 a month, and I saw at the time $7.3 trillion a day, in the market, I said, "This is going to be it." Also, because I knew that you wanted to learn Forex already.
I did.
So for me, it was never about Forex. And that's what a lot of people don't say. Like, I'm selling the product of you learning about Forex, but that's not what I was doing. That was not what I was here to do.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's what kind of separated us, is that we didn't try to act like we were making a ton of money from the market for people to to join, the business. We literally came from the space of getting educated. Now we'll talk about, that stuff, but I think that's what kind of separated us, is that we were not trying to say, hey, you're going to get rich tomorrow from this, because we wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like we didn't
our first profit was 83 cents.
You know what I'm saying?
Jackpot.
So and we use that story to now, I guess, inspire a whole.
Well, because the thing was, let's be real. The reason that people were so hesitant about the whole thing is because most people had never heard about Forex, which neither had we before we moved to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So if most people haven't heard about this industry at all financially, it sounds like a scam. I literally had somebody tell me, I was telling them about, the whole thing. I was training. I was at the studio at the time. This was somebody who was Norwegian. Like, you came to America from Norway, in which you have a different currency. Things like the Norwegian krone or something like that. You telling me that trading Forex, right? Trading foreign exchange currency is a scam.
That is really done, yeah.
As you probably did it to come to the States. Yeah. And so it was in those moments, like, I think you become really delusional. You have to be successful at anything. Let's just be honest. You have to be really locked in on it.
You do. I mean, just specifically in the network marketing space, you gotta be full on damn delusional and believing in your ability and believing in the company and product, because this is like an uphill it's an uphill battle
with bricks
you'll
on your
never
back.
Experience in your life. You know what I'm saying? Because literally every day you're going to be called a scammer. You're going to be called,
oh my gosh,
the same thing every day. And to persevere from it, you got to be a certain individual that is, honestly, like you said, you were dead broke. When your back is
when your back is against the wall, that is the best.
That's the people that are targeted not the most, but they're targeted, and those are the people that do well. You know what I'm saying?
You have to.
People that we've seen this all the time. People come to the business, they had influence, they have numbers of people that follow them already,
so lit,
and they just think that they're going to come into this business
and do one Instagram post
and a call, and then everybody's going to join them, and they're forgetting that there is skill sets that you have to acquire.
There are,
in order for you to build the network. And we've seen people fall flat on their face, like, and 50,000 followers, but no one joins you because, you know what I'm saying?
And that's the crazy. That's the part that
joining.
It's not even that you're not worth joining. It's like you realize people's confidence. And this is something I'll plug in right here, is like, environment is important. And a lot of people don't want to get into they don't want to fully immerse, right? What we learned very early on is that events were the most powerful part of this business. Why? Because I used to feel this way about church, right? When I was younger, it's one thing to go to school where you don't know who goes to church, right? It's another thing to know that you're going to a youth camp or a youth retreat where I can pray freely, I can worship freely, I can do all this stuff freely, because everybody who's here is here for that. Even if you're my friend, even if you cuss at home, even if you do all this other stuff, even if I know your sins, your transgression, what, Jesus Christ, even if I know what you got going on, it's giving Porky Pig today. Even if I know what you got going on, you know what I'm saying? We can come together in this place in solidarity and worship God and not feel no way and worry about who's judging us and all the stuff like that. Like you would feel if you was just at regular public school. You're not about to go to the cafeteria and just stand on top of the table and say, let's worship everybody. You're not doing that. Yeah. So I felt the same. That's what those events did, right? Where you finally got into a room and everybody who's here believes that this is going to work for them. Everybody who's here believes that they're going to be the next 6-figure earner, next 7-figure earner, next 8-figure earner. Everybody in this room wants to cross the stage. They want to be recognized. There's so many different things. What? How
do people get there? You know what I'm saying? Like, because what people don't listening to this, what they don't know on the inside, you know what I'm saying, on the outside, like, how do people get to that point?
You have to go into, like I said, most people will not fully immerse themselves. And what I mean by fully immerse themselves is if somebody says you need to be at this event, they don't look at it like I need to be there.
Yeah.
And that's what changed for both of us. That's our buy-in wasn't until we went to our first event in Vegas.
network marketing, like this is why they put on events, is because the environment is what builds the belief in you to be able to go out there and take all these no's. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yes, you coming out of that feeling like a gladiator.
You coming out of there feeling like you're gonna run through a wall. You know what I'm saying? But you need that. You need that as the fuel, because when you get out into the field, you're going to experience no after no after no, and you gotta need to persevere to be able to find the diamonds in the rough. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure.
And
you get to see the people that have made money. And you might see them in the hallway, see them in the bathroom. You can shake their hands. You can ask them your questions, like, how did you get here? Which, gets you into the mindset of, I can do this, because we understand how to ask questions and answer questions. And so if I have to go from my first event being in the back of the, you're in the back of the room, the back of the back of the back of the room.
Yeah.
Can't see anything.
Can't see shit.
But you're excited. And you get to the front of and your whole objective is to get to the front of the room. And the way that you do that is to continue to make more money.
Do you think you have to be a certain, like, you have to have like a certain personality type to kind of really win in this industry, you think?
No, I don't, because I've seen all types of personalities win.
Yeah, that's true.
You know
that's
what I'm
true.
saying? I think prior to,
what is the common denominator then?
It's definitely you. So if you understand personality types, like, it's really the person that's goal oriented, but money driven and self starter.
Yeah, I can agree.
Those are the individual. Like, that's me. I tell y'all all the time. Like, my personality type gives it all day. I've taken plenty of these tests. And I know that my personality type is a red. I'm a shark. That's what it's labeled as. You are the goal-oriented person. You are the self-starter. You are the person that's like, tell me how. I've told y'all, tell me how we're going to make the money. If you can direct me on exactly what I need to do, I can follow instructions well enough to, if you telling me that this is going to make me $10,000 a month, they show me how to make $1,000. They show me how to turn that 1,000 into 10. And when you can master that, if you can master that, you can master what they say. All I did was follow the blueprint. And a lot of people don't want to, I think just a lot of people don't want to do what it takes.
Absolutely. Because it takes a lot. No one, absolutely. There's no way everybody could want to do what it actually takes to win in network marketing. That's why it's like a 97% fail rate. You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, the thing is, I think network marketing showed me a lot of who I was. I had a period of time where the closer we got to our first 6-figure position, really our first $2,000 a month, I remember sitting on the couch one day and I knew, I feel like this is just a characteristic, obviously, but the closer I get to knowing how capable I am of doing something and being great, I pull back. Because I started to see the influence that we were developing. I started to see, because we didn't know anybody in Atlanta. Like, let's
definitely talk about that.
Yeah, like, we didn't know anybody in Atlanta. A lot of people feel like the people that I knew didn't do it. The people that I knew didn't do it. The people that I thought would have been great at it didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so literally we actually met people who introduced us to other people and introduced us to more people. And that's how we built our network. And a lot of people aren't willing to start to teach people what they're learning. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all we did. When Malk started learning how to trade for real, like the basics to that, let me show the newest person what I learned doing it for 5 months. You know what I'm saying?
It was like each one teach one type of thing. That's kind of how we started to build it. So each one teach one vibe. And to me, I just think there is an intangible that you pretty much, that I've seen, that everyone that has reached kind of the highest heights of it, there's an intangible trait that they have.
What is that?
It's hard to quantify, because you got to be somebody that people want to follow. In order to build your influence in network marketing, that's really what it is. Like, you have to be a person of influence. And you have to be able to grow your influence. You have to be somebody that somebody wants to follow willingly, because people can leave at any time.
Okay, so help me understand this, right? If you say that, if you look at me in 2016, 2017, the person who's not necessarily a person of influence, right?
You thought you wasn't. That's the difference. You thought you wasn't. Everything you've ever done, you've always been in a leadership role. You see what I'm saying? So it translated that skill set translated into network marketing. And what people typically don't possess is like the leadership skills. And that has to be developed. But also there is an intangible where if you could, you know what I'm talking about. Like, okay, we would see somebody come into the room, and before you get them involved, you can kind of tell if they're going to be a leader or not. Like, you can kind of tell. I saw this all the time. I was brilliant at noticing this. If somebody was going to be somebody of influence, you can always tell when they walk in the room. So because there is a presence there. There is a presence. Like, when you walk into a room, do you have a certain presence about you that somebody will look and notice you and want to follow? You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone that I've seen do well had that. Yeah. Or they developed it over time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the other part is just time. Like, people have to look at, like, we joined that company in 2017. We didn't make our first six figures. I mean, our first $10,000. We didn't have our first $10,000 month until 18 months later. And a lot of people will give it 1 minute, 2 calls, and they'll give up, you know, and that's the biggest issue. But I don't know if you want to talk about, do you want to talk about this in this episode or
what about?
Like I think one of the issues with this company and what happened was the blurred lines between Forex and network marketing.
I think they can kind of be for the second part, but I know what you mean for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think so. The premise of what we're getting at with this is like there's a certain type of person that you have to be, and the reason why a lot of people fail. And you can ask yourself if you've had ambition to do this at some point, like when you left the meeting and you just signed up and you're like, we're about to get rich.
Right.
What was the common denominator for most people is that I don't want to call my friends and family and tell them that I have found something that's going to make us rich because I know they're not going to believe me. And all the self-doubt is what stops most people of what they think other people are thinking when they make that call. I know the feeling. I know exactly what it feels like. I know how it goes. I used to call people literally shaking, bro.
Yeah, because you think about you're not really trained to sell anything.
You're not.
You're not trained to sell anything, but yet you're about
giving
to make
a peak
call.
Phrase.
Like that. I think that's what kind of probably needs to start changing, you know, in this industry, is that people need to be way more equipped to be able to sell, you know what I'm saying, sell a product or service, because we're talking about somebody that has never probably done it. They probably never sold anything in their life, but yet now they got a cold call. That is the hardest.
But you're only cold calling them to get them to somebody else.
Now, what makes it easier is because they know the person.
You think that's actually what makes it harder.
Well, yes, but I'm saying like
what makes it harder is that you know them and they know you.
That's most people's biggest struggle is that the people that they call and they know you. They know you don't take shit seriously. They know you don't do what you say you're going to do.
Remember I told you that? I had a friend that I called about it, somebody who also had been overseas. Literally, people, I'm like, these niggas are crazy. They're literally telling me this doesn't work, and they have been doing it for years.
Right.
But you haven't done it digitally, so obviously that means it doesn't work. And so I had a friend that told me, like, Britt, you always just trying stuff. How I know you even gonna stick this out? Honestly, I had a chip on my shoulder. To be honest, I had a chip on my shoulder with this whole thing. Like, I'm gonna show it. I saw a video, same dude that invited us to the first event into this business. Saw a video, and one of the things that he said at the end of the video is, you already know what happens if you quit. Find out what happens if you stay. And I'm like, dang, that's a fact, boy. I be on to the next thing with the quickness if it don't work tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So like, let me see something through. And I needed that. You know what I'm saying? Because now I don't have an issue starting something and knowing, all right, cool, I'm gonna give this 2 years. I'm gonna give this 5 years to start to be profitable or to work effectively, because I've already been there and done that. I have done it the slow way.
Right.
Which was still fast, because a lot of people don't make their first $10,000 in business at 18 months still. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a network. Let me say this. Network marketing is the greatest way to start your entrepreneurship journey if you're serious about being one. because of those intangibles that you talked about. Like, do you really want this, bro? Are you really willing to go through what it takes to build this, to get a clientele? I don't care if it's real estate. I don't care if it's insurance. I don't care if you want to do lashes. I don't care if you want to be a nail tech. I don't care if you want to sell beepers, bro. What you have to understand is that you have to develop a clientele. You have to understand psychology of selling to people. If you want to be a life coach, like, all of these things are the intangibles that I share with people all the time when they're getting into different businesses that require that. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm just going to, like, you can't just get licensed to do something and just sit there and hope people come to you.
Yeah, people got.
Are you open for business? Like, if you started a restaurant, would you just sit there and watch the cars drive by? No.
Yeah, that is one thing I would say. Like whenever marketing, you gotta learn how to market. You gotta learn how to sell. You gotta learn how to talk to people. You gotta learn how to connect. You gotta have customer service skills. You really learn all these things on the fly, which is why I think it'll make you that much more successful in anything else you wind up doing. You know what I'm saying? Because you're learning all those things on your own.
But the trap.
Yeah.
Is that
let's talk about it.
The trap is two things. When you start making money, it becomes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. From not only yourself, like, all right, I'll put it to you like this. It took us 18 months to make our first $10,000 a month, right? We made 6 figures that year. But it only took us 6 months to go from 10,000 to 25.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It only took us maybe like 9 months to go from 25 to 50.
Correct.
So what is my next thought? Oh, we could do 100. We could do it in 4 months. We could do it in 90 days. We could do it because I've now gotten addicted to the fast pace that I can create for myself. Right. But the other thing is, from a environmental standpoint, is that's what's preached to you. It's like, yo, stick and stay. You'll get your pay. It's
the little sayings that stick in your mind.
But it's like the thing when we talk about trauma, like, the trauma of it is that those things are actually true. But it doesn't, when you're in the bubble, that's what I call it. When you're in the bubble, it seems as though these things, these principles, these tactics, the things that you're doing only apply here.
Right.
Because you're when we talk about delusion, we're really talking about being locked in. Like, anything that you want to do successfully, you have to lock in, bro. Yeah. But in that space, the lock-in is something crazy. Right. It is like being in an alternate universe.
Well, you got to think about the root. So when you think about culture, the root word is cult.
Yeah.
And you have to think about, like, you have to immerse yourself into like a cult-like energy in order for you to be energized enough to even continuously do this thing. Like, people don't understand, like, that's why network marketing is so powerful. Like,
that's why people will be in it for decades and never make a dime.
Listen, y'all, I've seen people do this for decades and not come out making $600 a year because they stay for, one, the people. They may stay for just the environment, the positive energy. You think about it. When people go, in their day-to-day lives, they're not around people that tell them that they can do anything.
Facts. Your family.
They're not around people that can tell them that they can accomplish anything.
Yeah.
So when you get around a group of people that are telling you that you can accomplish something, whether it is true or not, whether you have the ability or not, it feeds a hunger that you don't even know that's there.
Oh my gosh.
So when y'all are like trying to judge people on like why people stay when they ain't making no money, thinking like you
going all these events, jumping up around,
because they're thinking that it can never be them. I promise you, it can be you.
It should
if
be you.
If it feeds you in a way that you may need something.
But here's the thing: is what I just said is that when you're in it or you're out of it, it seems as though you can only do it in that space.
Right.
Like I need one of those right now. You know what I'm saying? I need, and I'm grateful that we went beyond that to like a Bob Proctor before he passed, or like a John Maxwell or Tony Robbins. I don't really didn't need that one, but that one was cool. But you know what I'm saying? But it's like being in those places, those like around like-minded individuals for you to get rejuvenated from a space of things that I don't know that I need, or the motivation or the mindset or the skill sets that I need to be effective with what I'm doing. And most people won't make it to one of those events, so they can never actually fully buy in to what it is that you do. When you go to one of those, you literally can't wait to the next one because you know what it now does, one, for you, for your business. And when you actually start to become successful at that, you start to want other people to be in the same space. When you can get people to these events, that's what changed your whole business.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You get people in that room. There's some stuff that you can't tell everybody. Some stuff people are not going to hear from you directly. Like I'll never forget one of my business partners. He went to an event. I had been telling him this for months. He comes out the event, his first event. He comes out this event, like, "Oh my God, Britt, did you hear him when he said blah 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 blah?" Same stuff I've been telling you. Mm-hmm. In my mind, that's what I said. I said, "Bro, incredible, isn't it?" Because he couldn't hear it from me. One, I was his peer.
Right. That's the skill that people. This is the skill that we mastered. We mastered getting the fuck out the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, we mastered, like,
hell yeah,
hear it from somebody else other than me, because we understood the psychology of people. We understood, like, if you see me as a peer, you're not gonna take what I say and apply it like you would if you hear it from somebody that you truly respect. You know
if I'm only making $5,000 and you making 1,000, but you hear this from the person that's making 500,000 in a month.
Correct. It's simple. It's simple math. You know what I'm saying? But it's things that people don't get out of their own way about, and they want to be in the forefront of everything. And this is why some people never make the potential money that they could make in that industry, is because they want to be the person that everyone listens to. And for us, we didn't give a shit who we listened to, even if it wasn't
the quickest to be like.
We just wanted you to learn the skill sets that we were learning on how to build it.
Even if you got to learn from the horse's mouth.
Even if you got to learn from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
So that is a separator. That's what separates people. The haves and have-nots, honestly. It is what it is. And
you gotta, and the motivation. Like, for me, like I told y'all, I had a chip on my shoulder because of what everybody was telling me. So in my mind, everything became, I'm gonna be first. I'm gonna be the first to make $10,000 a month for this guy. And when I did that, be the first to make $25,000 a month for this guy. And when we did that, and be the first to help somebody make you have to markers goal. Like, I understand goal setting, but I don't feel like I'd ever accomplished anything that I set out to do that wasn't put on me. Like, go to college and get your degree. Like, okay, that's a attainable goal because I'm already here. You know what I'm saying? But not something I said I would do outside of moving to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Not something I said I would do, and I actually did it financially and changed, my life. But yeah, that's I guess that's the beginning.
You said that's the beginning. I mean, because when I think about this episode, I'm thinking about there's two different people that's probably listening to this episode. There's somebody that wants to learn how to build a network marketing company because they're already in one, and there's somebody that they've tried it, they don't believe in it. Mm-hmm. And I guess, what would you say to both of those people when it comes to this industry?
I would say, if you're in it and you're looking to become successful, you need to find the right people to follow, get you some mentorship, have you a dinner or a lunch, or make the phone call to the person that's actually doing this at a high level, but listen to everything that they tell you to do. Most people will only half-ass listen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They'll do the parts that they're comfortable with. One of the things I know we did was get uncomfortable. I'm not comfortable doing this. I'm not used to talking. I tell people my story all the time is that I have a degree in music, vocal performance, to sing because I hated talking. You know what I mean? So to build a 7-figure business from using my mouth, talking and not singing was crazy to me because that's what I hated doing. But when you put yourself in position to stretch, to grow, but following, like, y'all, success is boring. Business is boring. It's literally doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again and improving policies, processes, and procedures in your skill set. But you got to find somebody to actually put you on game on, how to do that and then do those things. That's for the person that's in it, that wants to win. And what was the other thing?
There's somebody that's, they join network marketing or they heard of it, they think it's a scam, they never joined it, or they don't believe in it. What would you say to them?
If you don't believe in it, you don't want to join one, take your mouth off of it. I think there's nothing wrong with not wanting to do it. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to be a part. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to be involved. But you don't need to. I feel like the people that don't want to do that, just take that position and let that be. It's the people that don't want to do it and then you have all to say about it that I will always have an issue with, whether I'm in it or I'm not. You know what I mean? And if you're in it and you're interested in it, then just try it. But you have to be willing to get uncomfortable in order for you to actually be profitable. And if you're not willing to be uncomfortable, don't waste your time. Yeah. And people won't tell you don't waste your time, because the truth of the matter is we get paid when you sign up.
Literally.
At the end of the day, don't let nobody tell you that, yeah, we say that we in it for the people, but the truth of the matter is, if I'm broke, I signed up to make money. Eventually, it got to be about... I
didn't sign up for people when I first signed up.
No, not at all. I got started...
Like, I learned to love...
Yeah, I learned to want this for people.
Enjoy the people that I met, but I didn't get in business for people. I got in business to make a profit.
I didn't get in business for friends. None of that. I made them along the way. Love y'all very much. However, that was not my intent. And depending on the business model, depending on the compensation plan, at the end of the day, you get paid for everybody who signs up and people who sign up people. So sometimes we get real reckless with that, and we will go sign up Tom, Dick, and Harry, because I'm going to get paid regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like you said, the issue is that everybody can join, and the issue is that everybody can join. I mean, the great part is that everybody can join, and the issue is that everybody can join when, you know, as much as people want to say, Forex wasn't for everybody.
It really wasn't. What happened to them Forex niggas?
What happened to them Forex niggas?
No, I think it's just to piggyback on what you said, saying to those two people, you got to be a carbon copy of somebody if you're looking to willingly be a carbon copy of somebody, and model after somebody, like literally to the T, if you're trying to have the results that they have. But then you have to do some introspective work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be self-aware. Like, can I lead at that capacity? That's where people get it misunderstood.
That's good. Say that again.
Can you lead at that capacity?
What does that mean?
To be able to lead a group of 100, group of 200, a group of 1,000, group of 5,000, group of 15,000. Do you have that capacity to lead that many people? And most people don't have the honest answer to themselves. Like, can I even, do I have the willingness to grow to that type of person? To have 15,000 people lean on me?
Because that's what it takes. You have to become a different person.
You know what I'm saying? You have to become a whole different person. That means being in personal development day and night. Trying to work on yourself. And let's be honest, most people aren't working on themselves. This is why I'm telling y'all, people, like, this is why most people don't make it in network marketing.
They don't want to listen to the audio.
They don't want to go to the events. They won't go to the events. They won't do the introspective work. They don't have that it just what it is. Like, and you can develop the it by doing the intangible things like that, like doing the things that people aren't willing to do. And like I said, they're not bad if they don't want to do that.
No,
that's completely fine.
Just know that's why you're not making money.
Just know you will lose. Yeah, just know you won't make any money.
It doesn't make it a scam. That's just not your prerogative. You just don't want to do the stuff. And I think the more people that are honest about that piece, like I was talking to one of my homegirls not too long ago. She was like, Britt, I hated that I couldn't find the time to learn Forex and go all in. It's like, when I do something, I want to go all in on it. And I just hated letting you down. You were more concerned about me than you were about you.
Yeah.
You were more concerned about what it would feel like or look like to me than you being successful at it. That's the differentiator right there, is that it was never, I'm already making money doing this. I'm just putting you on game. And so if you can't do this to the capacity that you want to because you want it like that, then like you have to want it. And I think the more people and honestly, our friendship didn't change nothing. You know what I'm saying? This is one of my oldest friends, literally known her my whole life, but I'm just like, bro, you good. Like, I'm okay.
Right.
Because my money's
not letting me down.
Like, you're not letting me down and you're not letting you down. I think the more people that are just honest about that, and the people, like I said, the truth of the matter is we're not going to tell you that when we really building this jump.
No, they're not going to.
Everybody counts. Everybody can get this work.
That's what your upline not going to tell you. They're
You're just not that good.
You think people would actually say that?
No.
No. Yeah, no.
But that's what we be thinking.
Absolutely. You're just not that good.
And then
you're
there's
just not
some
that skilled,
people,
and you can get skilled.
and
but
there's
you're
some
just not.
people that don't have that it factor. There's some people that don't have the look, like Malk said, but they are effing hustlers, bro.
That's
I
true.
have seen people
you will make it
have
hustling.
made money just because they had the grit, the wherewithal to go through the process.
The nose, they'll
and
take
those
a no in a heartbeat.
Those people, I always get excited when I feel like I was one of those people. You say I had the it, whatever, but to me,
Oh yeah.
I had the grit. You know what I'm saying? I was a goal, like, yo, if I could just get this one more person, 4 people to this one event. No, like, it's the small stuff, and you got to be willing to take every single stepping stone.
Yeah, no, that's right.
It's not.
But this part is the comment section.
Okay.
And where we answer questions or we respond to comments that people have made about either the topic that we're talking about or something similar to the topic that we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But so what we got? With some questions.
So one of the first questions for this one was, are there any risks or downsides to being in a network marketing company?
I would say, okay, risk and downsides. There's quite a number of both, I think. All right, so risk-wise, there's not financial risk, but there is mental health risk.
Explore.
I say that because you're going into a space where it is not the environment that you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Say if you have the opportunity to go to an event or somebody lures you, to an event
mm-hmm.
by way of taking you to a barbecue, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden you got a presentation going.
Please no gimmicks, side note.
Yeah, please no gimmicks, because they're the worst. But you're going to a space that you have no idea what that effect is going to do on you psychologically.
Yeah.
Meaning any need that you may have, any desire that you may be desiring, or any lack of confidence that you may exemplify, that will be shown within probably an event that you may go to. Why I say that is because these events are put on for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
They're put on for a reason because they're there to motivate you to do something that you wouldn't normally do if you were by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you got to get into the environment.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they always preach you got to get to an event. You got to get to an event because it's not supernatural. Let's not say that.
Wait a minute.
It's not supernatural, but there is something that happens to you when you start to actually believe what they actually have to offer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start believing it to the point where you conceive it, okay, now
you can achieve it.
No, we're not going there. You will start to now personify or be an advocate for whatever that product is.
Yes.
And if you go down that rabbit hole long enough, you will find yourself there for you might have been there a year, 2 years, 3 years now.
In there.
You're in there now.
You're in the bubble.
You are in the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And it is hard to break free of that culture mentally. It is extremely, extremely hard to break free of that culture. And what I mean by that is you may feel like you may have no other way to make $1 million. This is how we felt. We felt like there was no other way on God's green earth.
Oh no.
That we was gonna make $1 million
ever.
Like, there was no.
Good.
But there is millions of ways to make money.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But people aren't ready for that. I think for that psychological battle that you're gonna have
to do it on your own. For sure.
You know what I'm saying? To do it on your own. So to answer that question.
Do you want my network marketing answer?
I want your real answer.
So what I would tell somebody if I was still in a high
That's
level
so
leadership.
funny. The fact that she said your network marketing answer, y'all.
Yes.
Would
the
tell
only
you everything
risk
you
is
need
you.
to know. That's your network marketing answer?
The only risk is you.
That's hilarious.
It's true though.
It doesn't matter if it's it doesn't matter if it's true, because it's a play on words.
That is my network marketing answer. Is that No, for real. So for real, the risk is you, because if you're not willing to do what it takes, then you are the risk. You are the person that puts yourself at risk. The other risk is believing that you've made enough money at $1,000 a month to quit your job.
Yeah.
That is the craziest thing you could ever do. Now, y'all, don't get me wrong. I told Malk he could leave at $5,000. I said, bro, we cool. You know what I'm saying? But one, there's a difference
I
between
looked at her crazy.
$5,000 a month and an extra $5,000 a month. But I think those things are the risks that you get not too ambitious. I don't think you could be too ambitious, but you get overly ambitious to where you feel like once you are embedded in that culture that this is all I need. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you'll kick your legs from up under your feet because I'm leaving my job. I can't stand this job. I'm making all this money doing this, that, and the third. But it's like the job is the stability when things aren't always up. And I think the biggest risk, like I said, the conversations that aren't being had, which because it's detrimental to the business, is about how to, and I don't think it's detrimental to the business. I just think it was a conversation that wasn't had, because I think we wouldn't have such a bad taste for how things ended if there were conversations around how to navigate the lows the same way there were to push you to the highs, and then how to sustain those highs. Mm-hmm. That was always the conversations. But back to the risk is being, I think one of the biggest risks is isolation as well. Yeah. Because there is a period of separation that's necessary. But depending on the type of culture that you're in, it could be presented as if people around you don't want to do this, you cannot be around them. And one of the things I'm most grateful for is that we didn't subscribe to that, because when things weren't great, you needed that support. I didn't need the support system and the things weren't great part. I needed the support system of like, yo, you know who I am. I don't have to put on and be your leader. I don't have to put on for you to respect me and nothing. I can literally just be Brittany. You know what I mean? I don't have to try to give you I'm at the cookout to be at the cookout. Feed me, give me the drinks, let's get lit. I can't do that everywhere. You know, I didn't have to be that perfect person. And so I think one of the biggest risks is being put in a sense of isolation, to where you feel like if there are people around me that don't believe how I believe and they don't speak how I speak, and instead of bringing them into your world or like giving them a book to read or some motivation to help them configure their mindset as well, you would just act as if they don't exist and they can't be around you. And I think that is one of the most detrimental things, because I hear from people all the time where they're like, yo, my friends don't even F with me because I called them so I could hit a rank, and I never called them again until I needed to hit another rank. And, you know, or I told them I couldn't chill with them. I didn't go out no more. I just became a whole nother person. And it's like, you can lose yourself, and like no longer be who you were, you know, and on both sides, because even, and we'll talk about this on part 2, but even from a trauma perspective, one of my homegirls, shout out to her, because she reminded me, she was like, yo, you're not even, her husband, remember they was at our house and her husband was like, you know, how do you feel about something like that? And I was like, it could be worse. And they were like, what? That's not you. Like, that's not the Brittany I know. Like, and she was like, we went to Target. She was like, Britt, you do understand that the principles from personal development still work, right? You do understand that you can still grow, you can still listen, you can still develop your mind. You can still put up the signs that say this is your goal. You can still put up the pictures saying these are the things that you want for you and your family. But because there was that sour lemon that was attached to, I learned all this through this vehicle that I felt like I didn't want to engage in that because of how it all went down. But I think the biggest risk, like I said, is your willingness to do, but also what you don't do, and then your isolating period of who you cutting off, what you're cutting off, your job, your friends, your family, for the sake of this business. Because without that business, it's like you end up in this, everything that I've told y'all about my identity crisis on this whole podcast derives from who I became through network marketing.
Yeah, fact.
So,
all right, there's another one. We got another one.
Oh, you wanted to do 2? Why
not?
All right. I think a great question, another one would be, how did you feel about the people that you recruited?
Okay, so
Or about recruiting people in general?
I didn't necessarily enjoy the recruiting people part, but I understood why. I understood how to build through people's network. So there would be people that I would meet and I would think like, oh, they're gonna kill it, like they're gonna do well. And then there were others that I was thinking like, he's too arrogant. He thinks this is a walk in the park. He's not gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
Because he may have some influence in real life, but when you get into this industry,
you get humbled real quick. And he's not gonna be able to take the being humbled. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it was always that battle. You meet so many different people, building that business, that you kind of start learning different personality types. You start being able to read people better, and you kind of start seeing like, okay, this person, they coachable, teachable, and all these other things. They have these things that most people don't have, so they're probably more than likely going to win. And like I said, it was others that I'm like, there's no way in hell this person's going to win. But he'll sign up, cool.
If he wants to get paid,
we're gonna get paid. But also, if he does decide to actually do what's required, he'll benefit in some way.
Yeah, but
majority don't. You know what I'm saying? Just from what I just said, most people aren't going to do the other things.
Yeah, the intangibles.
They're not humble enough either. They just think, people gonna join me. It's me. You know what I'm saying? I get them on a call. I can get 20 people on a call. Remember, we used to hear people, I'm gonna get 20 people on a call. We do a call with them, and they have 2 people there. And this is the most humbling thing that
they'll never do another call.
They'll never do another call with you ever again. Because
our first event, nobody came. It was I had 3 cases of water, 5 bottles of wine. It was just,
and that's the thing. It happens to everybody. So that's why we would laugh if we would say like, okay, they're gonna get 20 people in a room or 20 people on the call. Okay, buddy, let's see.
The worst you can do is talk too much.
The worst thing you can do is talk before you actually do.
Shouldn't have said that.
Most people do that, and that's what I be thinking. I'm like, okay, buddy.
I think when it comes to recruiting, you have to be okay with that's what it takes. Like, some people try to mask it when it comes to network marketing. I think especially because of the type of business we were in where you could make money without recruiting. People promoted that only till you got in it to tell you to do it. Like, all right, cool, who we gonna get on the call? Like, because the truth of the matter is when you understand, like, there are principles that you understand in this business, like the laws of them. Mm-hmm. Malcolm used to teach this very eloquently at all of our trainings, the 3 laws of business. Yeah. The first law is that a customer is not a customer. How to build it, right? A customer is not a customer until you've helped them get one. And y'all, we don't have no pitch at the end of this. We are not affiliated with any company, but we're just telling you. But it's like, if that's what the law of the business is, then even though I promoted this to you as if you didn't have to do this, and a lot of people did join because they actually wanted to learn about Forex until you got there. Because the truth of the matter is, what we understood is most people aren't going to be disciplined enough to learn Forex. So let me help you get some money.
Right.
The best way you can do that.
I know you know 2 people.
I know you know 2 people. At least you don't got to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? And so, it's helping people understand that. And that's from the recruiting standpoint. So it's understanding that network marketing requires recruiting if you want to actually make the big bucks.
Yeah.
Right. We'll get into Forex and stuff like that in part 2, but network marketing requires recruiting, bro. And you don't know who's going to lead you to one person or to, we had, I talked to one of my homegirls. She introduced me to her brother. Her brother introduced me to this other guy, and that other guy put 1,250 people into the organization.
Yeah.
1,250. Right. What am I looking at? I'm just staring off right here. What am I looking at? I'm not. You were
messing up your edit.
I know.
Chill out. You need it. Focus.
1,250 people from one person. Mm-hmm. You never know who somebody can introduce you to, right?
Right.
And so for me, it's like understanding that. And when I started to see that, or like you know, like you were just talking about, you don't know who one person's going to introduce you to, or who's the person that had this one couple introduced us to another couple who introduced us to another couple, and they took off.
Yeah, it
just went crazy.
It's just what the laws are. It's just like anything, any other law that we know of. It's the same thing.
It's the same principles. And so like network marketing requires recruiting if you want to make the actual money. And the more we understood that, and really just being a person, being a person's person, but a person with people's goals in mind. Because the best thing that you can do if you want to be a leader is understanding that the best leaders have a vision that other people can fit into.
Well, I guess we can get into that on the second episode, because the leader thing is like, I was telling you this. I was like, yo, this is probably why people shy away, is because they feel like if they're not leading in the capacity of network marketing, that they're not a leader in general.
Right.
And that's part of that trauma, that psychological battle that people have when they leave the industry.
Yeah, don't get into that yet.
Yeah, it's tough. It's deep, y'all.
But if you do want to do that, it's understanding that you have to create goals and visions that other people can fit inside of, which then they believe they can go get they can go make $1,000 a month, they can go make $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month. Especially if they got you to lean on and you know what you're doing. So I loved recruiting people. No, let me not say that. I hated recruiting people. I hated recruiting people. I loved developing people.
Yeah, building people is the easiest part.
Especially
that's what we mastered. That's what made us a lot of money.
For sure. I hated recruiting people, loved developing people, because of what, you know, when I realized what the potential was within me that I never knew until I built a business like this, I wanted to see that joy in other people. You know, I wanted to see that belief of like being able to, you know, do something significant, and at the next event you're on the stage and you're on a panel. Like I might not be a keynote speaker or have 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I might not be hosting a jump, but I can get on a panel. I loved that positioning of being able to do that. So recruiting people, I mean, it's just it's the name of the game. People don't want to give it to you that way so that you understand what you're getting into.
Right.
So that you don't think that you're going to go home and not call nobody, which you don't want to do from the get-go. That's what it takes. Yeah.
No, I think this is why it took us so long to have this conversation, or just talk about this industry in general, because this is what, honestly, network marketing is what made us, you know, what grew us. We grew up in network marketing. We started at what, 24?
24. I turned 25. We turned 25.
It was right after college. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 years after college or something like that. So that's all we knew in our 20s.
Right, because we just turned 30 on this podcast. Y'all know we just turned 30 on the podcast.
Right, so we had grew up in it, and to have the time to think back. Okay, everything wasn't bad.
No,
everything wasn't bad at all. You know what I'm saying? That was kind of some of the best times of our life. It was a chapter in our life
that was great.
We learned a lot. We just unfortunately saw a lot happen towards the end. Yeah. That, you know what I'm saying, that kind of we wish happened differently, but it is what it is.
We needed that too.
Because we learned so many lessons. This podcast doesn't happen without
trying to figure out what's
season.
Next.
You know what I'm saying? Without that season of our life coming to an end, we don't have this podcast. We don't have this outlet
at all.
So
if you ever wondered how we got here
is definitely
due
to network marketing. You know what I'm saying?
So let's talk about it.
Right. Oh man. This was dope. The first episode, at least, of it.
There's a lot more to come.
But I think we need to talk about what happened to them Forex sneakers, though.
I think that is the question on the floor.
I think everybody wants to know.
Everybody wants to know what really happened.
What really happened to them Forex sneakers?
And this is not one of those. Let me not even tell you what it is. We'll see y'all in the next episode. I'm your co-host, Brittany. And you can... shoot, I messed it up again. All right. I'm your co-host, Brittany.
And I'm Malcolm.
And you can follow me at Brittany Donnell.
You can follow me at Malcolm_2_Garrison.
And don't forget to follow this So Let's Talk About It podcast on all platforms. Follow, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere that you can listen to podcasts. That's where we at. And don't forget to make sure, we got to get y'all into the listener lounge. So let's talk about it pod.com, so we can hear your thoughts on this episode. Have you ever been in a network marketing company?
Right. Have you ever went to a barbecue and then wound up being in a presentation? Because that's what happens. It literally is.
Have you ever thought about it? What are your thoughts in regards to it? We want to know. And so we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.